Direct Flash is back. Let me show you how to pull off this editorial raw vibe in 3 simple steps. Let's get into it. Hello, my friends. My name is Pi. Welcome to another MagMod tutorial. This is my friend Anastasia. We're gonna link her up so you can give her a follow if you would like. And she's gonna help me to walk you through Direct Flash portraits. We're going for that editorial, that raw vibe, which just so happens to be in right now. But here's the great thing. Direct Flash, when done right, it's always in. We haven't stopped using this style. And what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna break this tutorial down into 2 parts. I want you to stick around for the end. At the beginning, I'm gonna take you through a simple 3-step process just to show you how to do the technique. Towards the end, I'm gonna talk to you about the theory of this so you know exactly how to make Direct Flash look great, even if it's not, say, in style. But look, let's start from the top with what you need. Any camera, any lens works. I kind of like to do something that's a little more wide. I'm gonna go 2870 and an on-camera flash, you're good to go. As far as MagMod modifiers, in a bit, we're gonna probably break out the sphere as well as the grid, but let's get into it first. First scene, let me take you through the 3-step process. I'm gonna start though with why we chose this scene. I love the depth of this hallway. We're gonna get great lines. I also like the fact that it kind of matches the colors and tonality of Anastasia's outfit. All right, so the 3-step process is this. First, I want you to not even to worry about the flash. We're gonna decide on intention. I'm gonna explain in just a moment. Second, we're gonna power on the flash, get our settings dialed, take a test shot. Third, we're gonna modify the light as needed, okay? So this is a little bit of a modification, simplification on the camp process, which you can check out in our other videos. But first, let's start with intention. You don't have to put the flash on yet if you don't want to, or if it's on, just turn the flash off. What I want to do is dial in the ambient light exposure. So let's decide on the composition. I'm gonna bring my camera down a little bit. I'm gonna have Anastasia hop into a pose that she's gonna hold, and I kind of liked it when you rocked the outfit off the shoulder, just like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna punch in a bit, and I'm gonna go to 1/200 f5.6 and low ISO to get this shot. Now I'm gonna take the exact same shot, but this time I'm gonna go to f2. If y'all have seen my other videos, you'll know that when we decide on ambient light in camera, this in-camera exposure, we're deciding intention. With that darker image, we're going for something much more dramatic, much more edgy. With the brighter image, we're going for something far more natural. Typically with this type of a look, we usually go on the bit darker side because it's kind of an editorial, a raw look, which again, I'll explain more later, but that typically means we want more dramatic in camera. So from that point, I'm gonna go to f5.6, and we go power on the flash because we're gonna go now to step 2. Now this is the beauty. We're gonna keep the flash in TTL, meaning we're gonna let the flash decide the power. If you've watched my other videos, you know that I generally don't shoot TTL. I always use manual exposure because with off-camera flash, TTL is not very reliable, but we're using on-camera flash. This is exactly what it was designed for. So I'm just gonna power it on and we're gonna basically just take a shot, all right? So we're gonna go right back to that same spot. We're at f5.6, 1/200th, and boom. There's our shot with Direct Flash. It looks like it adjusted it up to 9.3 for the power, and that looks pretty awesome. What if I actually went back to f2, right? If I took this shot, you'll notice that the flash power dropped. It dropped to 5.5, so 9 point something to 5.5. It automatically adjusted the exposure for me. And you'll notice that when the ambient light was much brighter, it used a lot less flash power. When it was more dark, more dramatic, it used a lot more flash power. So darker means more edgy, more dramatic. Lighter means more natural. You decide on what's right for the look, for the style. And look, if you didn't get enough flash, you can automatically adjust your exposure compensation afterwards. So that's step 2. Step number 3 is, do we want to further modify the light? I'm going to give you a couple different ideas on this. We have zoom, we have grids, we have the sphere. In this case, and I'm going to explain why as we go, in this case, I'm actually going to use the MagGrid. Why? Because this is going to tighten the light output so it doesn't spill onto the walls. I can't really get zoom to do the same thing. This is going to be much more powerful than a zoom. And what that's going to do is put the light just on Anastasia. So I'm going to go ahead and take that same shot one last time for kind of the final look. And boom. Look at the comparison between those two. It controls so much of that light and we get such a unique look from that. I love it. let's go on to our next scene. Scene number 2. I love this spot because of how loud it is. Bear with me. I actually really dig it because of this texture on the wall. It's gonna look great with direct flash. This is also gonna be a great spot for me to show you exactly what modifying this light looks like. So let's get right into it. Let's actually practice just using the 3-step process. I could, take my first shot like right here where I'm not really adding a lot of light. But again, I want this to feel like really punched up. I want it to have that editorial raw vibe, to be more dramatic. So I'm gonna bring the f-stop to 5.6. We're gonna go 1/200 for low ISO. And this is what it'd look like without any flash at all. So we're actually landing in a darker place than we were over there in that other scene. Now, step 2, we power on the flash. Beautiful thing about this is TTL is gonna do all the work for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a shot right here, and boom, it already looks good. Looks like the flash setting that it landed at was 7.4, okay? So what I wanna do now is I'm gonna show you zoom and then that grid effect so you can see the different layers of light control. So first, let's go and zoom the flash in. See, on pretty much any modern flash, you have the ability to zoom. What that does is it kind of pulls the light back so it funnels that light forward. Think of it like a grid, but not quite as powerful, right? Let me just show you what it looks like. I'll stop talking. And I'm having Anastasia kind of hit the same pose just so you have a nice thing to compare against. So notice how automatically we start getting this vignette effect in the background, right? Where that light kind of pulls forward and it leaves the background edges darker. That's just with the in-camera or the in-flash zoom. Now, what if I actually added the grid on top of that? So here's the MagGrid. We're gonna pop it in, take the shot again. Now notice how we get even more of a funneling effect. We get even more of a stronger vignette. We even get to the point where we have to make sure that that light is right on our face, because if it's going straight forward, it can actually be a little bit low, right? So it can almost hit the body and leave the face a bit dark. So we wanna make sure that the light's going there. We also have the MagSphere, and we can actually add the grid as well. So let's start with the sphere. What this is gonna do with, it really doesn't matter what your zoom is set to, when you put the sphere on, it's gonna diffuse the light a bit, okay? My sphere might be a little bit dirty too, so you're gonna get a little bit of yellow. Don't judge me. Okay. Just happens. But it's gonna reduce some of the specularity. We're still gonna get that hard-edged flash, but the reflections that come back are gonna be reduced. So that's kind of nice on skin. So let's take that shot right here. And I love this. TTL is basically making all the adjustments, so it's just taking the flash power up and down and it gets it spot on each time. That's great. Now, what if I added the grid underneath the sphere? A lot of people would be like, that's not gonna do anything, Pi. And if I didn't see it for myself, I might be one of them. But it actually does a little kind of funneling of that light and then the diffusing, so it kind of creates a vignette, but it's a little more of a soft graduation. You want me to show you again? Like, Pi, stop talking so much and just start shooting more. So we actually have a little bit of that vignette, but also a bit of a softening effect. These are the types of modifiers that I like to use whenever I'm using direct flash. And now that we've got this set up, we're gonna go ahead and just take some shots. I'm actually gonna go back to, because I kind of like that dramatic vibe with that spotlight effect. So I'm gonna go back to just the grid and let's rock it out. Quick note, anytime I'm framing her at certain edges of the frame, when I have that grid on, you'll notice I'm gonna be moving the light a little bit. So I make sure I'm hitting her. Before we leave this spot, I want to show you just one advanced technique that's going to be very useful to you. You'll notice that everything that we've captured so far has basically been this horizontal, this landscape aspect ratio, right? The reason why is because as soon as I go to portrait ratio, and believe me, when I'm doing this editorial style, I shoot a lot of portrait aspect ratio images. But as soon as I do that, what you're gonna see happen is you're gonna see the shadow actually drop to her side. So again, if I took that same shot again with the camera just horizontal, the flash is coming top down, right? As soon as I go like this, now the flash is coming from the left and it creates this awkward flash angle. So if this is a style that you love, I'd recommend just getting a flash bracket. Now, if this is a style you use every now and then, what we can do is just kind of what I call Statue of Liberty. We're just gonna hold it ourselves. And I do this all the time on like wedding dance floors. But I'm gonna take the flash off, I'm gonna put my remote on, and now what I can do is get my composition, get kind of everything dialed in, and just bring the light right over my hand and angled right towards her. And now we get that direct flash look with the shadows dropping behind her. It looks much more natural. It looks so much better than kind of letting the flash drift to the side. All right, let's head out and wrap up with some final thoughts. Don't leave yet. Step into my office. I really just want an excuse to sit down, but I'm gonna give you some good stuff here, so don't leave. Look, a lot of photographers would tell you things like there's a right and a wrong type of light. A lot of photographers say never use direct flash. I firmly don't believe this. I think it's fantastic that direct flash is a style that is in trend again, that's great. But we haven't stopped using direct flash. It always had a purpose. And what I would say is there is no right or wrong type of light, but maybe there is the wrong type of light for a particular story that you're trying to tell. My philosophy behind this is match the quality of light, the story that the light tells, to the actual type of image you're trying to create. See, if we want to create an image that's a bit more soft, maybe it's more feminine, it has big dresses, it has kind of more of a soft feel, then we're going to match it with a light that feels soft, and that would be a larger light source, right? If we want something to feel produced, we would use a large light source. But if we want something to feel more raw, if we want it to feel edgy, then a small light source is absolutely fantastic. And so we've been using direct flash for this on the dance floor. We've been using it for anytime we want an editorial look, an editorial vibe, for when we want to storytell and kind of take the production out of it. So that's my last thought to give you, is just match the quality of light to the type of image you're creating. The story of your light should match the story of your image, and it doesn't matter whether it's in trend or not, it will work. That's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time. Peace.